Senator Shelley Capito joining me now. Senator, thank you so much for being with us. Do you have any progress to tell us about this morning? Is there any end in sight?
Well, I think what you see is, as we're edging up to people missing paychecks, some people losing their jobs, obviously the intensity is growing here, as it should have been on October the 1st. And so I think we will reach a pressure point here. But to me, the simple thing is to reopen the government, quite frankly, in a CR that's been voted for numerous times in the past. Very simple till the middle of November.
Yeah, the president announced yesterday that U.S. service members will be getting paid. He posted, "We've identified funds to do this, and Secretary Hegseth will use them to pay our troops. I will not allow the Democrats to hold our military and the entire security of our nation hostage with their dangerous government shutdown." Obviously, everybody wants the troops to be paid. But is there any concern that this might make it easier for Democrats to dig in their heels?
You know, I don't know that it is obvious that everybody wants our troops to be paid. If it's so obvious that we want our troops to be paid, the simple thing is to reopen the government in a very a way that we've done many, many times in the past. I'm really pleased that President Trump and I heard Vice President Vance talking about this morning, have found the dollars to pay our troops. But there's a lot of there's Coast Guard and TSA and other vital government services that are in peril here. We have low-income people who are looking for, women and children looking for nutrition programs, SNAP benefits. I mean, we could go on and on here. This is not something that should be in the political hands like it has been with the Schumer shutdown, to be able to say, you know, they're going to stand strong when we have so many people that now are wondering if they can pay their car payment, pay their grocery bill, and move into life, not to say the least of which are our troops. So I'm happy that they're going to be paid, but there's a lot of other people that are not going to have that paycheck, and that's going to be very damaging to them and their families.
Yeah, on this messaging war, Schumer was blasted for saying every day gets better for Democrats. A lot of people thought that was a very callous remark, but it appears his strategy is to wait this out, because coming this month and over the next several weeks, people are going to start receiving those notices in the mail that their health insurance premiums are going up if the Obamacare subsidies are not extended. Democrats think ultimately people getting those letters in their mailboxes will help sell their messaging battle. Should Senate Republicans head this all off right now and start negotiating on the ACA subsidies rather than waiting for the government to reopen?
You know, here's the irony of what Senator Schumer is saying. Numerous Republicans, including myself, have said repeatedly that some of the premium subsidies are absolutely essential. West Virginia has 67,000 people who are on these subsidies who by no other way could afford, in some cases, any kind of insurance. That's important to me. Many of us have expressed that interest. So the negotiations have already begun. The president has talked about this. Vice president has talked about this. I think this is totally a political game so that Senator Schumer and the Democrats can stiffen their spine and their supporters, but it's at the expense of so many people. So let's look at what they're asking for. $1.5 trillion worth of more spending. You know, that coupled on top of looking at these insurance premiums. So are they going to wait this out till November the 1st? We can negotiate this and have an answer by then, but not while the government is closed. I think that's a reasonable ask. And I think that what Senator Schumer is trying to do is leverage something, a policy issue, over simply whether the government stays open before, when we have been negotiating this and will continue to and seek and have a solution by the time that would impact those statements going out.
Okay. On Friday, these layoffs started. They hit several agencies: HHS, Energy, Homeland Security, Education, Treasury, Commerce, and HUD. There was reportedly some effort from Senate Republican leadership cautioning the White House against doing this. A lot of concern it would potentially blow back on Republicans, that regular people would end up blaming Republicans for all of this rather than the Democrats who are shutting down the government, voting against bills to reopen the government. Do you think the White House should be moving forward with layoffs right now?
You know, I wish that the White House didn't feel that they had to move forward. Of course, anybody losing a job unexpectedly in the way that this is happening is difficult on their families as well. The president said from the beginning, keep the government open and we'll move forward. But he's dealing now with some limited limitations on what he can spend and the prioritizations that he can have. He's tasked with protecting the American people, which you can see is extremely important to him and to us. And so I would hope that the forces would wake up and say the simplest way to solve this is reopen the government and we don't have to go forward with this.
And finally, before we run out of time, one other quick topic for you. The Secretary of War announced that Qatar's jets are going to be hosted by Mountain Home Air Base in Idaho. He clarified that it's not a foreign base on U.S. soil. There are existing equivalents. But what do you say to critics who are concerned that Qatar has hosted Hamas's political leadership in the past and supported other Islamist groups? Is that of any concern to you at all?
Well, I think my understanding is that this is a training base for the F-15s. It is not. It is our base. It's not owned by anybody else, the Qataris or anybody else. And so I think that this, as you mentioned, has been done at other bases all around the country. And so I would say we've got to look for allies wherever we can find them. And I think the president and the secretary have considered this in their decision. I don't see it as a monumental decision of believing everything that they say and being 100% in their corner. Obviously, we've had some questions there with the harboring of Hamas. But look, what we're looking at here in the next 24 hours, what's happening in Gaza and what's happening in Israel is nothing short of a miracle. And I think everybody in that region had a part to play. But certainly President Trump and his team has done a magnificent job. And I think we should celebrate those hostages being released.
Fantastic. We'll have to leave it there. Senator Shelley Capito, thank you so much for joining the Sunday briefing.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.